Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today in this video, we're going to be going over some potential pushes that you're going to see with Ethereum, some Ethereum news, and as well as we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. So if you haven't already, do support the channel by subscribing, dropping a comment, and hit that bell and get your latest honest news in cryptocurrency. So before we really dive into any kind of analysis, what I got planned for you guys today, let's talk about some of the news that's going on, right? So Ethereum's groundbreaking merge is just around the corner. We've all been waiting for this merge. And so even some of the professionals are expecting Ethereum to really go up, to surge, and really do really well. I am one of those people that have always stood by Ethereum, even though those gas prices can be outrageous. But in general, Ethereum is pretty good, other than the gas prices and us waiting for Web 3.0. Some footnotes is going on. So the proof of stake is that step closer. This is that merge that experts are really excited about all across the board, because they believe that the effects of this is really going to be tremendous with that network. Now, the Ropsten testnet merge, of course, was really big towards that transition, and the final sprint, of course, is soon to be expected. They're expecting that the gas fees and spikes in value are part of that range of features that Ethereum community is actually looking for. 2.0 is becoming that reality with that merge and Ropsten. According to some news, we have Tim Beiko, that lead developer for Ethereum, actually made an announcement on the Ropsten merge, saying that Ethereum's longest-lived POW to proof of stake. Now, Beiko said that in the latest development, the merge is actually scheduled to occur around June 8th, and that is actually getting a lot of attention and excitement among those community. It is actually quoted, "Right now, the key thing to watch for Ethereum is the merge as it changes from proof of work to proof of stake." This is coming from Ian Balina, the CEO of Token Metrics. Now, the fundamental catalyst event that will make Ethereum potentially deflationary and could change the entire climate of crypto assets. This is something we all know, and we've been waiting for this as well, because we're expecting this dynamic deal to kind of push in and really drive everyone else. As we can see, Solana right now is actually having a lot of trouble. But one coin in particular to Ethereum is Cardano. Cardano is kind of starting to make its move upwards, if you look into that, and we'll cover Cardano a little bit in the future. One coin that I don't potentially really like to do, but it does look like it has some promising footnotes coming now as we've moved since last year. The CEO of Kraken, Jesse Powell, stated that he's not fazed by the slow pace of the merge development, because he believes that the success is going to be more important than the speed. Well, that's experts are particularly interested in the amount of energy that will be saved in a transition to proof of stake, especially as proof of work systems like Bitcoin have actually caught a lot of flack. So, ready before it begins, so it's now the most staked crypto asset with a staking market cap of 23.34 billion, according from the data of staking rewards. Now, Vitalik Buterin gave a heads up to users ahead of the merge to ensure that the decentralized applications were in line with the new upgrades. He said, quote, "Remember that you should always test your dApp with at least non-MetaMask wallet, Bravo status browser," Buterin wrote on Twitter. "Make sure your dApp conforms to Ethereum standards and not just in accidental properties of one particular wallet. If you run a node, are a validator, or an infra tooling provider, this is the first time to familiarize yourself with a transition, and better late than never. What a post-merge node is like." I'm sorry, this is coming from Beiko, the head of the merge. Now, some things to kind of note before we go to the next piece of news is that the big coins right now, where we're kind of moving into this crypto winter, is that these big coins right now, Ethereum, Bitcoin, right, these major players are the ones who actually hold at this moment. As you're going to see, that altcoins are really going to kind of take a really big hit from this. So I believe as we move inside of October, even September, we're going to start seeing some really big pumps moving in, and the market tends to show this as of history. If you kind of look back in previous years, it kind of copies that same deal. So this is the thing that we're going to kind of cover today a little bit. Moving into the next big piece of news, considering Ethereum. Now, crypto capitalist Arthur Hayes detailed that massive end-of-the-year forecast for Ethereum. So Arthur Hayes, he's at BitMEX CEO, or former. He's actually reasserting that call of parabolic price rally for Ethereum near the end of this year. So kind of conforming back to the merge, and as we're going to look at the market, you're going to be able to see as well. So he had a blog post. He said that sticking to the prediction, that he's sticking to that prediction of 10,000 by the end of the year, even if he's slightly less confident that we'll hit this target. Now, his thesis is actually on the prediction that the Federal Reserve will ultimately will be on the agenda of trying to curb inflation through tightening of central bank liquidity. So, according to him, those baby boomers are voting bloc in the U.S., or the largest voting bloc in the U.S., and will become that increasingly discontent with the Fed's monetary policy. Everybody is already, first of all. Now, they have, quote, the baby boomers are the largest and wealthiest generation, as well as the most important voting bloc. They own a large percentage of global finances assets and are now embarking on retirement, which means subsisting on a fixed income, poorly performing financial assets, and rising fuel and food inflation are the two worst things a financial asset heavy retiree can experience. Now, the boomers will rage against the machine and set us free from the cage. And so he is predicting that it will likely send that signal to investors that a low interest rate environment is back in play. It is quoted again, though, that the Fed will not be coy about this about face. The pivot will be clearly telegraphed, and those waiting for a signal that it's on like Donkey Kong will receive it. For patient traders whose time frame spans many years, it pays to wait. You don't want to sell 50 fiat and buy Bitcoin either early only to get a shock due to a lack of confidence in your investment thesis. It is better to wait for the all-clear signal from the high clergy of the devil that it's time to join the crusade. So he's predicting that it's going to jump. I don't know if you're going to follow that as much, being the him, but many things are going to prove to this, and this is where the economy, everybody thinks is going to crash, but could potentially fake you out and have the opposite effect of what most of us are already thinking. All right, kind of looking at the charts with the analysis, can I go ahead and get into that? Let's look at Ethereum. Right now, 1775 is what it's trading at the current moment. Now, when you look at it in a very short span period, such as the last couple of days, it doesn't look so great, of course. But the problem is that the market structure always changes when there is big movement. When you're seeing these retractions kind of setting in, when you're thinking just like little ones like this one on the 28th, 29th, that's not really a big enough movement or turbulence, if you will, to change any kind of structure. We want to keep it kind of simplified. So as we're looking here on the graph the last couple of days, let's call this our most recent resistance and our most recent support, if you will. Now, kind of trading in through here, you can see that we're kind of bouncing back and forth on that, right? So giving a little bit of power at one dip, 2, 3. And of course, remember, you kind of look in a little bit on down the line, it continues, right? So this is where we're kind of looking. But the idea is to look at the last or the most previous big changes in the market structure, being that if we're looking here back in 9th of May, we see that there was this big structure, right? We're all going to remember those couple of days when, of course, Luna kind of hit and bottomed out and took almost every crypto with it, right? So this is a huge market structure moment that we're going to follow through. And even the most previous, notably the support and resistance, right? So this is what we're going to call this one, the most previous or the most relevant, right? So giving into that, this is where we want to expect to kind of return back to. And it's a big possibility. And I am not the only trader that follows through this with the moving averages and everything. This is a high possibility to actually return back to this level of 2940 and not too far away. And as a given, anytime you look at the market and you're looking at the graphs, it kind of returns back from those major movements of the last support, of the last resistance kind of coming in. We always return back to that a little bit later on. Why I like to kind of follow those is because it's a very, very powerful signal and a very powerful prediction tool that you can kind of catch into. And this is just going to really clarify and push more that we're getting ready to return back to normal, some kind of. It could be prolonged in general, as far if we're speaking on, and I'm on the daily, by the way. So it could be prolonged, of course, moving later on as well, everything else is kind of happening, right? So it's still kind of slow, but that potential of actually coming back up to 2950 is not just like a thought. I think, I pray, I hope. It's more of a matter of that it's statistically highly possible, giving into it. When we're using our moving averages, when we're using our volume, you can kind of enter the trade. If you're entering the trade for, let's say, for Ethereum right now, and you're kind of trading in, you bought in about right here, and you just kind of hold out a little bit longer, you have to make some pretty big pips coming back up to 29. I mean, it's very, very possible, as you can see. Now, even coming back up and break, and once you kind of break through here, it's going to be up. It's going to continue to grow. Of course, we just need to get past that support or that resistance level at that moment. So it is looking really good at the moment when you look at the much, much bigger picture and you're patient and you're not freaking out of just the most recent time or the most recent movement of the market going on. You need the big part. So to make that simple, those big movements, those big changes, that when that structure is truly changing, that is true market structure that you need to pay attention to, that gives you those really big warnings and those really big warning signs ahead of time of what the market's going to do. Not every candle is a market structure changing moment. And so that's where I think where a lot of us as traders really kind of look into this is like, well, that's a big moment, it's going down, it's dipping out. No, this is just a moment to enter or buy your trade if you look at the candles daily and individually, right? But these bigger candles are those markers. When that happens, when you see that big amount of change coming in right here, even, that is a market structuring moment. That is a moment that you're going to remember, and that's a moment that you're going to need to come back to a little bit later in time. And the key here is to go to the most previous to do that. And that's what we're looking at here is the most previous. And it has that potential of reaching back up and giving you a moment, giving you a warning to enter the market at the right time or to exit the market. And you're using all of your fundamentals in the right way, of course. That's number one always. But as far as we can see, it is going to potentially come up and be pretty well played. Looking at the 4 hours, for example, to kind of go into the lower time frame again, a little bit less, we can see that it's pretty much the same thing going on, just kind of fighting back and forth. The volume in itself is kind of slowing down, but the price isn't going up, so it looks like it's starting to stabilize a little bit, as we can see further in. And even the moving averages, if we kind of just go back to the day, the moving averages is kind of playing along with it, that it's potentially going up as well. When you see this, let's just bring that up so you can probably see. Now it's kind of coming in, and it looks like it's going to stay above, moving in. Now it is starting to lose some of that buying power going in, but if the market plays out just right in the right amount of time, and we have some more pickup in buying volume, it's going to carry this up to where we need it to be. Now once we break our now most recent resistance level, then that's when we can expect for it to go up, right? Or even to touch back down for the higher highs and lows. We need to follow all of that and to really see where that market's going to put us. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very much in the same way. And that's one cool thing. If you're trading one coin for the other, Bitcoin and Ethereum are always like 1-in-1 as far as holding itself pretty tight as far as like how the market's playing each other. It's trading at 29,570. They're expecting Bitcoin to pick up as well. So giving the same structure here, right? Giving almost the same percentage. We can see it's kind of moving in this sideways manner, but a pretty strong support level kind of breaking off right now, as well as the resistance level is kind of picking up strength as well. But the same thing is applying to Bitcoin around 39,000. And let me just get my point. Around the same way for the most previous resistance level and the most previous support. So when we're looking here, 39,000 is not that impossible to come back to, giving you that perfect buying opportunity. Even if you entered around 31, 32, which again is not that far apart, we can actually enter in and make those pips. When we look even further into this, you can see that's just a huge, that moment is giving you like, yes, okay, that huge moment that changes the market structure. Now we can kind of come in and play our game. So Bitcoin is doing the same thing, as you can really kind of tell, either way. So this is all I have for you today. Just kind of looking, just to kind of give you a heads up and give you some really true proof where we can see it, not just someone just giving you the news like, hey, look, it's going to go up, but when you look at the market as far as history goes, and you can check it for yourself as well, and you're going to find that it's really going to start moving in this upward direction towards the closer to the end of the year, given that we were expecting it to kind of, well, be better and be some kind of normal this year, but unfortunately we entered the events that we have entered now. So if everything plays out just right, there's a lot of different playing factors that really contribute to September, October really pumping these coins. And all of this right now is a moment to enter in and hold and be patient. Especially with these top 10 coins, for example, these high-end market coins. So if you go into those, this is a moment you can actually make some money with those, because if I'm not, you're going to see, especially after the Luna situation, you're going to see a lot of them, a lot of the altcoins really take a hit. Now, of course, you have your guys that are pumping and dumping them, right? Which is like, that's cool, that's great. I mean, I support that completely. But the big money can be made right now as a market, and you can use this for any coin, you can use this for any market. But they kind of let you know, if you guys are holding Ethereum and you're kind of sitting on the fence, like, what should I do at this moment? Where can I expect it? Expect up here coming soon, because it's, you don't want to sell right now and then think, oh man, I jumped too soon. Why did I not see that resistance? Why did I not see that support line from last? We retouched it, and you can go back and draw your lines on your graphs as well. If you guys are here and check it, you're going to see that it always returns back to that point. And this is something that you're really going to see. And given that the market has a lot of uncertainties right now for a lot of people, and they're really kind of scared, I just wanted to kind of remind you of this. But that's all I have. Subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Is it going to touch? I'll post a poll a little bit later about if you think Ethereum's going to touch back to its former glory. Do you think Bitcoin is going to go back to 40K? Well, you guys can let me know in the comments beforehand, and I will see you guys again soon.